And it brings me to my next question in terms of the innovation that Big John Merritt brought to this Jackson State football team. You mentioned the coaching staff in terms of Albert Coleman being the offense coordinator, Joe Gilliam, the defensive coordinator. But this is during a time period where a lot of football is 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but you guys were passing the ball left and right from looking at the statistics.
We had the people that could go get it. That's what it was. We had the people that could go get it, man. I mean, we had an outstanding quarterback there before I got there. And it was just my sophomore year I began to start. But Cornelius Addison was an outstanding passer. And he kept things kind of started at that particular time. Because when Willie got there, he was a freshman. Addison was a junior. And of course, Addison could really pass the ball. He could really pass the ball. And once he handed everything over to me in my sophomore year, and we shared the position, they all found out that I had the big arm. I had the biggest arm. Mm-hmm. And we sometimes would throw the ball down the field. I could throw 70 to 80 yards down the field.
Wow.
And there'd be tight spirals and a bullet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, it was the guy used to say in my hometown of Clarksdale, Mississippi, Roy Curry can throw the football from one end of the field to the other. I never seen nothing like it. I mean, it'd be tight spirals, you know. So, hey man, we passed the ball quite a bit, and that's all Coach Mary used to say. Hey Roy, put the ball in the air, baby. Put that ball in the air. And if you don't see nobody, take off and run. Take off and run. And that's exactly what I would do. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome history just to get that from Coach Mary giving you the green light to do whatever it is.
Oh yeah. And you know what's amazing about this, Charles? I basically call all my own plays. I basically call all my own plays. Every time, every so often there was some to play in. But I always call my own plays. But I will always listen to whatever Cooley would say. If Cooley would say, Roy, we can trap this guy up in the line. We got a guy who like to come off the ball real fast, so let's trap him. Either Willie would say, Roy, I can beat this guy on a down and out. I can beat this guy on a post route. It was that's just how it was. So I was telling the story that we were on Joby Martin's show. He was a radio DJ in Jackson, Mississippi. So he invited Willie and I. This was after our first year in professional football. And he said, Willie, what was so great about Roy Curry? Willie said one word, great listener. He was a listener. And I would listen to all the guys when they tell me what they thought would work. During the course of the game, they'll get back to the huddle before I get ready to call the play and say, hey, run this. And I run it and usually be successful.
You know, I take a look at that time period and I want to ask this question, Coach Curry, in terms of where you were within history of the Black quarterback. You got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, but you weren't given an opportunity to play quarterback. And I'm always curious, you know, how do you look at that sort of time period in history, just not getting the opportunity to play quarterback? But as we start to pan into the 60s, Shaq Harris gets that opportunity. Eldridge Dickey gets that opportunity. Within where you are within the historical framework of HBCU football, how do you sort of, do you kind of have any regrets?
Yes. You know, I had a chance to go up in Canada to play in the Canadian League. But what happened, I decided, well, I want to stay in the States so my people could see me play, you know.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And when I got to Pittsburgh, we had a guy by the name of Coach Parker. He was the head coach at that particular time. And he was interviewing all the rookies, and he'll bring them in one at a time. And when it came time for me to go in to be interviewed by Coach Parker, he opened up by saying, "We're going to make you a running back." That's where he opened up by saying. And I had no choice because I just wanted to play.
Sure.
But I thought that I never got a chance. I never got a chance. I never put my hand up under the center, take a snap. The only passes I threw was on option passes. But the thing about it was, if I would have gotten a chance, I would have excelled. I would have excelled easily. I would have excelled even. Yeah. But the thing that saved me and helped me make the team was a guy from the Pittsburgh Courier. What was his name?
Bill Nunn? Are you referring
Bill
to
Nunn. There you go.
Great Bill Nunn.
Charles, you're ahead of your time. Bill Nunn, man, he said, here we got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and he's a running back and wide receiver. And it's unfair for him to be playing out of position. And that's the reason they kept me around. And then when they kept me around, I started excelling as a wide receiver. You know, they moved me out the backfield because they had big running backs back in that time. Big John Henry Johnson, Clarence Peak, Bob Ferguson from Ohio State, everybody All-American. So they're using big backs, and I weighed close to 200 pounds. I wasn't large enough. They wanted 230, 240 pound running backs at that time. Sure. So of course, the important thing was, I just really just took my mind into being a wide receiver. And then I started catching balls, and I ended up making a big catch in the weekend when we played against the Chicago Bears. That was the weekend President Kennedy got killed. That was the weekend Kennedy got killed. So I scored a touchdown on my buddy from Grambling, Roosevelt Taylor.
Okay.
And, yeah.
The great Roosevelt Taylor. Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
The great Roosevelt Taylor. Oh man, great Roosevelt Taylor. So it was just a good time. But I wish I could have played quarterback. If I could have played quarterback, I'd probably still been playing now.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
And in terms of the research, Seth Schwartz wrote a tremendous piece on you, and I was fascinated by you used to work out guys that were drafted as they came into the Chicago area, whatever. You would throw passes to them and get them sharp before a training camp. So you still had that quarterback in you.
I had the big arm. Dick Gordon, Jimmy Jones, Gloucester Richardson, Gail Sayers, Andy Livingston, all those guys, Willie Ross, who ended up playing with the Buffalo Bills. That's the story in itself. But we all used to work out down there at Stagg Field at the University of Chicago, and I would be throwing balls to all of them. And they all felt that, hey man, you still got it, man. You still got it. I said, yeah. You understand. I can't use it because at that time they weren't letting too many Afro-Americans play quarterback.